What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and for today's video I wanted to do something a little differently. Wanted to talk about some Madden 18. Now this is something you can expect a little more often going forward, as Madden 17 is really winding down and we're gearing up for Madden 18 in the next couple months. Going to be talking about new features in the game, new things that you can expect. All the news I get, bring it straight to you guys. Even gonna do some videos about some things that I want to see in the game, some things that I expect to see, and just stuff like that. So, I've been listening to a lot of the interviews. I know a lot of the game changers and stuff like that. So I get a lot of information, and I've been paying close attention. So thought I would start bringing some of that to you guys. I'm still going to be doing the Madden 17 tips as well, so don't worry about that. But just wanted to start incorporating some Madden 18 news into the channel. Now, for today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the new game modes because I've seen a lot of people ask about this, and there's a lot of people that are confused about it and don't quite understand exactly what it means. So that would be what I'm going to go over today. So basically, for Madden 18, EA has implemented 3 new game modes, which is going to be for head-to-head play online. So we're going to have sim mode, we're going to have arcade mode, and we're going to have competitive mode. Now, like I said, a lot of people are kind of confused on what exactly does this mean, so I'll break them down really quickly and then go into detail about each mode. Now, sim mode is going to be basically the game as we have it now. Now, I know a lot of sim players don't think that the game is that sim because, the better players do break it down more in depth and they find the things that are overpowered, the things that are hard to stop, which kind of takes away some of the sim aspect of the game. But the game in its truest form right now, the way it is programmed, it is meant to be a sim game. And what I mean by that is, the things like overthrowing passes, dropping interceptions, dropping, open passes. These things happen in real life. So that is implemented into the game. If you have a quarterback that never overthrows the ball, or you have a running back that never fumbles the ball, on a soft tackle, or, a cornerback that doesn't drop an interception, that wouldn't be sim, because in real life those things do happen. So that is incorporated into the sim mode. And basically the sim mode is a little bit more about your X's and O's. So is the competitive mode, but sim mode basically is, your X's and O's trying to play real football, but also incorporating those fluky aspects of the game where you might be overthrowing a pass or dropping an open pass, because it is something that happens on Sundays in real football. Now, arcade mode is the one we've kind of heard the least about, but basically, putting 2 and 2 together, you can pretty much figure out that arcade mode is going to be more of the pick up and play mode for the guys that are super casual players that don't play a lot of this game. Most Madden heads are going to, excuse me, most Madden heads are going to be on one side of the spectrum or the other. They're going to be the hardcore sim players that want the most realistic game to real life, and then the competitive players that, want to be in control of everything and control of their own fate, and, really breaking the game down, bit by bit. Arcade mode is that kind of that in the middle where the guys that don't play a lot of Madden can easily pick up and play. You would see more things like a lot more aggressive catches, a lot more big hits. You're gonna see, you kind of think of how like the game Blitz used to be. It won't be nearly that extreme, but just more of the big plays and the big hits, and you don't really need to know or understand much of the X's and O's about football. You don't need to understand how to beat certain coverages. You can kind of pick up play, get crazy animations, and just do some crazy stuff and still be able to put points on the board. So that's how I see arcade mode playing out. Now, competitive mode is basically going to be for the top players, for the guys that want to control everything. And Rex Dixon actually said the motto for Madden 18 is the year of the user. Now, when he said that, a lot of people thought that meant the user defender, whereas the user defender is going to be rewarded, more so than in years past. And that's going to be true this year, but what he really meant when he said year of the user is everybody is going to be completely in 100% control. So, for instance, let's break down some examples. If I'm playing, a competitive game of Madden, if I'm playing in a tournament even, let's say we're playing in one of the EA tournaments for a lot of money, we're playing for $100,000, and I overthrow a wide open touchdown. In competitive mode, to an extent, it's almost not acceptable because you have to look at it like this. If I overthrow a wide open touchdown, that's not my fault. I did the right thing. I made the right play. I saw my guy was wide open. I threw him the ball. I pressed the button, and then the algorithm just said, "Hey, it's time for you to overthrow a pass at this crucial point in the game. That could be a game-winning touchdown, and I overthrow it, and then I go on to lose the game. It's not my fault. Same thing if I have a wide open wide receiver. Hey, he's wide open. That's who I should be throwing to. He's the open man. The defense was not set up to stop this route, or I put out a route combination that my opponent wasn't ready for, thus I have a wide open receiver. I'm throwing him the ball and he just drops it. Not my fault. Nothing I can do about it. I did what I was supposed to do. I got my guy open and then I threw him the ball and he just drops it. There's nothing I could have done about it. In real life, when this happens, if Julio Jones drops the ball in real life, that's on Julio Jones. He messed up. If Tom Brady overthrows a pass, doesn't happen often, but it does happen here and there. If he overthrows a pass, that's his fault. He overthrew the pass. But in Madden, if I overthrow a pass or I drop a ball, or even the biggest one of all, if I drop an interception that's right in my hands, it's not my fault. There's nothing I could have done about that. And it often leads to the better player not always winning the game. Or not even necessarily the better player, but the person who played the better game. Because I could be a better player than you, but I could have a bad game. I could throw a lot of times into your coverage, but for some reason you're just not getting the picks, and then I'm going on to eventually score, and I wind up winning the game even though you played a better game than me. And that's what they're trying to eliminate in competitive mode, which I think is a good thing. Now, don't get me wrong. There should still be overthrows and there should still be drops, but it should be rating based, right? And this is something Problem actually said that I agree with. He said, even in competitive mode, like, you should still have overthrown passes if you're not using a good quarterback. You shouldn't be able to go out there with Brock Osweiler and get the same results as you would if you were playing with Tom Brady, especially in an ultimate team mode where you're paying a lot more money for that elite quarterback. Paying more coins for that quarterback should mean you're paying for the lower probability of overthrowing the ball. So as long as they keep it ratings based, I think that'll be fair. Because people like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers should not be overthrowing the ball nearly as much as they did last year. Some of these high-rated legend players in Ultimate Team shouldn't be overthrowing the ball as much as they were. Dropped interceptions is probably the biggest one. If they can fix the dropped interceptions in competitive mode, I think it's already 1,000 times better, because there's just often too many times you throw the ball in the coverage and it should be picked off, and you could drop 5 picks on a drive. We've seen it happen numerous times. You drop 3, 4, 5 picks on a drive, and that person eventually goes on to score. You've already stopped them. If you could force someone to throw 1 pick a drive, you should be rewarded for that, because that's not the easiest thing to do. So you have situations where you're forcing them to throw 3, 4, and 5 picks a drive, but you're dropping it every time, and then they go on to score, and they might wind up winning the game. But they didn't play better than you. They didn't deserve to win that game. So that's what competitive mode is trying to eliminate, and I think that's a great thing. I think especially for the tournament scene, when you're playing for all this money, the person making mistakes should not, get to live to see another down. The person making the right plays should be rewarded. If you throw in the coverage, there should be a consequence. If you, if you call the wrong play and someone's bringing the right blitz, you should not be rewarded for that. If you throw the ball in a double coverage, and you walk away with an incomplete pass, that shouldn't be the your worst case scenario. Your worst case scenario should be, hey, I'm throwing in a double coverage, I'm probably getting picked off here, and that's how it should be in competitive mode. In sim mode, you're going to get the real life football. You're going to get the overthrows. You're going to get the fumbles, on non-hit stick tackles. And things like that. You're going to get the dropped open passes, because those do happen in real life. So I think, implementing these new modes will be good for everybody. You could drop a comment below. I would love to hear what y'all think. Do you think it's good for the game? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think there should be one mode across the board that everybody has to get on the same page with? Interested to see what you guys think about that. I think it's good for the game, because I think for years the competitive guy, and that's what I am. I'm the competitive player. So I think that we have been on the back burner more so, and rightfully so, because the sim player is the large majority. The competitive players, while it is a pool that is growing, it is very so the minority. So it doesn't make sense to cater to us, and I've always understood that, even though, it's hard at times when you are that guy and you want the game, to have things in it for you as well. So I think this is the best compromise, because you're still giving the hardcore sim guys, you're giving them their mode that they can compete on, the guys that don't care about playing for money and playing in the tournaments and playing the best players, the guys that just want to jump on and have the casual games and just have the real NFL experience. They have their mode now. You have the arcade mode for the guys that just that don't really know Madden that well but can just pick up and play and have fun. And then you have the competitive mode for the hardcore guys that, want to be in control of everything and want to control their destiny. They want to, if they throw the wide open pass, they want to catch it. They don't want to have those drops. They don't want to fumble on a simple arm tackle, and they don't want to drop picks that are thrown right into their hands. So I think it's great for everybody. Let me know what you guys think, because as always, there's always different perspectives, and there's so many different people that play this game. Obviously we're going to have different views on it, so I'd love to hear what you guys think. And if you enjoyed this video, as always, just like, comment, of course, subscribe to stay updated with all the Madden 18 news, and I will see you guys next time.